Let us begin.
Recording in progress.
So this is a mimer from the night before Sukkot, Tavshin Lamed Hey. Welcachtem biom Harishon pri Eitz Hadar. Kapis Tmorim Anafeitz Avos V'Arvin Nachal. It shall take for you in the first day a pri Eitz Hadar, which goes on the Esrig, the Kapis Tmorim, which goes on the Lulav, and the branch of a Eitz Avos, which goes on the Adasim, and the Arovis Arvin Nachal. It's known, the analysis of this expression of the pasuk in the Medrash Rabbah on Parshas Emor, where in Parshas Emor it says this pasuk Velakachtem. So the Medrash it says like this: Biom Harishon zeh Tezvav. We know that when we have to take the Daled Minim, what does it mean? By Yom Harishon over here. What's the first day over here? It's talking about the 15th day of Tishrei. And you, the pasuk is calling it the first day. How do you call the first day of, how do you call the 15th day of Tishrei the first day, that you shall take it on the first day? This is especially difficult. It'd be prior to this, in these very psukim, this day, the date of the beginning of Sukkot, is called not the first day, it's called the 15th. It says, like it says, on the 15th day of the 7th month. So we already see this idea that the beginning of Sukkot is called in the Torah the 15th day of the 7th month. So therefore, still in all over here it says the first day. The first day of what? So you might say it means the first day of Sukkot. But in regards to Lulav, that doesn't really make any sense. Let me first say it outside. Lulav is only a mitzvah min ha-Torah, only the first day of the month. There was Takons Chachamim that we should do it the rest of the day. The first day of Sukkot, excuse me. There's the Takons Chachamim that we do it the rest of the days of Sukkot also. But the mitzvah min ha-Torah is Velakachtem by Yom Harishon, meaning only on the 15th of Tishrei do you take it. The word first has to relate to something else. If there is no other days, then you can't call it the first. When you're talking about the first day of Yom Tov, so then that makes sense, because there's other days of Yom Tov. Not only that, there are other days that are just as Yom Tov as the first day of Yom Tov, meaning the first day of Yom Tov and the 8th day, as he's soon going to explain. But when Lulav is only taken on the first day of Yom Tov, you can't just say, take it on the first day. What do you mean? There is no other day. Lulav has no other day that you can call it the first day of anything, and therefore he's going to revert back to the question, why do you call it the 15th? Let's see what I just now said inside. So he says in line 8, and moving even more, it's not understood. This makes sense when it says in the pasuk prior to that, it does use the term the first day. It says the first day shall be a Shabbos, it shall be a cessation of work. Why does it say in the first day? If you're making such a big deal about the term first, you shouldn't be saying the word first. He says over there it makes sense. And it's because also the 8th day is a cessation of work. Both the first and 8th day, there is a prohibition to do work. You should not do any work of labor. As opposed to the days of Chol HaMoed that's in between. Therefore, I have to tell you, on the first day and on the 8th day of Sukkot, there's a first day and there's an 8th day where you can't do work. The intermediate days, you could do work. So the word first relates to other days. Some days yes, some days not. But concerning what it says in our pasuk, the taking of the 4 kinds. Since Minatoida, the only obligation is to take it on the first day of Yom Tov. The rest of the days of Yom Tov are not a Chiv Minatoida. So you can't call it the first day. The first day of what? When we're talking about, it doesn't say velakachtem biyom harishan shel sukkos. Or it says velakachtem biyom harishan. That means that the kicha, the taking, is a first for a continuation, but it isn't. There is no second following it. Vaf became still no nemar. It says you should specifically take it on the first day instead of choosing a clearer type of expression. You shall take it on the 15th of the month of the 7th month. Top of next page is base. It's known one of the explanations, and this is according to what they said in Medrash Rabbah, Parshas told us, in the merit of us doing the mitzvah, of taking the Daled Minim on the Yom HaRishon, so the Medrash is going to bring multiple Rishons that we are also going to have. So first of all, on the Niglul Chem Rishon, I am revealing myself to you in the level of first. Like it says about Hashem, that Hashem says, I am Rishon and I am Achron. So therefore, I am revealing my Rishon to you. And I will be taking, I will be collecting the consequences, and I will be paying back from the against the one who is the Rishon, that he should be paid back for his misdeeds. It's going on Esav, like it says about Esav, that when he came out from Rivka, he was the first that came out. I'm also going to build for you the building that's called Rishon. It's going on the Beis Hamikdash. It's the Beis Hamikdash is called in the Navi Yeshaya. It's his throne of glory, exalted from early on. So the Beis Hamikdash is called the Rishon as well. The Avilachem Rishon. I will bring you also a Rishon. Zeh Melech Mashiach. It's going on King Mashiach. It says about Mashiach, Rishon L'Tzion Hinei Hinam. That the first Tzion, which is going on Mashiach, behold, here are the Yidden, etc. What's the idea behind all these Rishons being merited because of velakachtem biyom harishon? The Isa Medrash, it's brought down the Medrash. Kisi HaKavod the Beis Hamikdash Shmei Shel Mashiach Kadmu L'Brias Olam. All these things, Hashem's throne of glory, the Beis Hamikdash, and the name of Mashiach, all preceded and were in existence prior to the creation of the world. That is actually the reason why they're called the Rishon, because of this power, etc. It indicates on their being prior to and preceding the entire order of time. The whole idea of order of time began with the creation of the world, because time was also created when the world was created. Before the world was created, there was no time. Like it's known, the teaching of the Mizrach Magid that's brought down in the Siddur with Siddur Dach. In a similar vein, we know a different Maimer Chazal says that the Torah preceded the world. So therefore, all these things that preceded the world, that therefore they are all called Rishon, are intertwined. Therefore, the merit of you taking on, which is the idea of mitzvahs. Mitzvahs is part of the Torah, that's also a Rishon. Therefore, by connecting with the Torah and mitzvahs, having the Rishon of Torah and mitzvahs, through that, through that we merit the level of Rishon that was mentioned before, this level that is way beyond the worlds, Mashiach, Beis Hamikdash, Kisei HaKavod, etc. Top of the next page, page Zayin. According to this, it's also understood why I will take the punishment out on Esav, who is called a Rishon, because spiritually he is also a level of Rishon. The chsiv that says about Esav Vayetzer Rishon, he came out first. Shagam Masha Esav Nikra Rishon. Also the fact that Esav is called first. Hareza Lefisha Kodem Lo'elam is because he preceded the world. Masim Al Piyam Avur. This fits in according to what's explained the Chassidus and Kabbalah. Shekoy Al Shar Shishal Esav Ba'elam HaTayu. This is referring to the root of Esav in the world of Tayu. Shekadam Lo'elam Zeshu Matikun, the Tayu preceded this world, that's the world of Tikkun. He Gamba Maila, the precedence of Esav to us, to Yaakov, that comes from the world of Tayu, before the world of Tikkun. It doesn't just mean that it had to precede it and the Shir Sakelim, but it's also a precedence in quality. That's a higher level than our world now. The higher mila is that only specifically in the world of Toyu, there are these powerful lights and revelations that are not to be found in Olam HaTikun. It's the whole purpose to bring down the greater lights of Toyu into the greater vessels of Tikkun, like it's brought down in many places in Chassidus. And that's what it means, I will pay back your debt, like we're soon going to explain, that we receive and we take and we extract these greater powers of Esav, and Hashem gives it over to us. And this is also understood concerning that I am also the one that's revealing to you that I am the level of Rishon. It says, I am first and I am last. Hashem says about himself, that over here in this context, the Eibishter is called a Rishon first, though we find that he's called by 70 different names and titles and descriptions, etc., etc. So, why specifically is Rishon of importance and value over here? Though there's the level of godliness in the entire chain order of descent, that many of these different names relate to different aspects of Elikus, the way it's revealed in the different worlds. Over here it's speaking about the level of godliness that's completely beyond the entire chain order of descent. Even higher than the chain order of descent of the spheres themselves. In other words, within the spheres, there is the highest of the spheres, and this is higher even than that. What's the level that's higher than the Seder Ishtalshus of the spheres, that the sphere of Keser? Because Chochma is the beginning of spheres, the way they are in the Seder Ishtalshus. So it's not that level, it's not the beginning of the spheres, but it's higher than that. Spheres HaKeser precedes the level of Chachma even, and that's why it's called the level of Rishon, beyond the level even of the Seder Ishtalshus of the spheres. That's also why it says, on the first day, what's the indication of first day? The Yom HaRishon combination, that means the first revelation. Yom in many places in Chassidus is associated with revelation, because it says, Hashem called a light, he called a day. So therefore, we have the idea of Yom HaRishon, that means the first revelation. And that is, that's going on Keser, Shemoid ala Keser, can move and become Mekoimis, like it's brought down in many places. Sheba Yom HaRishon begematria Keser. That phrase, Yom HaRishon, or by Yom HaRishon, is the numerical equivalent of Keser. This also fits in what's explained in many places. The Yom Tov of Sukkot is a result and an outgrowth of the completion of the avodah of tshuva that takes place on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the day of tshuva. Because Yom Kippur is the day of tshuva, that's why following Yom Kippur, the Yom Tov of Sukkot is an amazingly great simcha. Kimshal ben Melech B'Shivya, like for example, a prince that was in captivity. V'choizer la'aviv HaMelech, top of page Ches, he was returning to his father the king, that's a great celebration, a great joy. The same thing, the Yidden were in captivity by their Nefesh HaBahamis, and now we broke free by doing tshuva on Yom Kippur. That's specifically the reason why in the Torah, on the Yom Tov of Sukkot, it says 3 times the idea of being joyful. Also in davening, in the Yom Tov davening of the different Yom Tovim, the different Yom, some called Zman Matan Tereseinu, Zman Chereseinu. Only Sukkot is called Zman Simchaseinu, the time of our rejoicing. Though all Yom Tovim are Yom Tovim that are days of rejoicing, so if they're Yom Tovim for rejoicing, why specifically is Sukkot pointed out in davening called Zman Simchaseinu? Shouldn't Pesach and Shavuos also be called Zman Simchaseinu? Because the joy on Sukkot is so much greater because it's following the tshuva and the return that we accomplished on Yom Kippur. The Rebbe goes on in line 5 and says, like it's also hinted in the statement of the Medrash Rabbah, Biom, Harishon, Zet, Tesvav. That it says the first day, this is Tesvav, V'ata Omer B'Yom Harishon, and you're saying the first day, the same question like we had earlier. So the Medrash explains this another additional explanation to the explanation that we brought before, that you know why it says Rishon, because connected to the Rishon, that Esav is Rishon, and the Beis HaMikdash is Rishon, and Mashiach is Rishon, and Hashem is Rishon. In addition to all of that, he explains another idea. He says, Bayom Harishon, that we're supposed to do this is the 15th of Tishrei. You're calling it the first day. Why do you call the 15th the first day? So he gives an example. There was a metaphor of a country that was liable to its king for something, maybe taxes or whatever, that didn't pay, and the king was going to go invade and make and vent his rage on the country. So there's a whole story of it that the Medrash relates about how they appeased the king, and the king finally forgave them. And then Amr Lohain Malcolm Man the Ozil. So then the king said, after he was appeased by whatever they did, so he said, whatever's past is past. Okay, I forgive you what was in the past. From now we will begin a new accounting, and whatever you owe me from now on, make sure to pay. So he says, Hashem tells the Yidden, what's past is past. From here and on, let's begin an accounting and keep track and pay us. Meaning, Rishon L'Cheshbon. It's called the beginning, the first of any accounting that we have to be liable to Hashem for what we do. So we see that the idea of Rishon in this Medrash is connected with the idea of Tshuva. Because we said Sukkot follows on the heels of Yom Kippur, because after the Tshuva of Yom Kippur, we have the celebration of Sukkot. And similarly, it's not the exact same thing, but similarly, after the Tshuva of Yom Kippur, now on Sukkot begins the new cycle. So he says, so in other words, the Rishon of Sukkot is connected with Tshuva. So he says, because also Tshuva preceded the world, especially the ultimate and perfect level of Tshuva of Yom Kippur. That through that is affected the idea that you will be purified and cleansed, and Vadigam Titharu Begimatria Keser. Also the word Titharu, that you will be purified, is also the numerical equivalent of Keser, which is talking about the Titharu of Yom Kippur. So we see that Tshuva has to do with Keser, has to do with Rishon. So that's another connection between how this comes about specifically on this particular time of year. So now the Rebbe says that's all fine and good about specifically why is it now, why is it this time of year, and why they all called Rishon. But he wants to know what is the next part. What is the next level that we have to take this to? The next level is to understand what's continuation of the pasuk. Welcachtem bayom harishan, but it says a whole bunch of things. Priyetz hadar, kapis tmarim, nafetz avis, arinachal. What's all of that about? So he says in line 15, according to this, we need explanation. Because of what is the continuation of what it says over here in the pasuk. Specifically on the Yom Harishon, which we explained now in the loftiest terms of tshuva, and it's beyond the world, and just like tshuva is beyond the world, that's why it's Yom Harishon and so on. Why does it have to do specifically that we bring these four kinds, we take these four kinds on the Yom Harishon specifically? What's the special connection of these four kinds with those matters that are connected with the first day, that's beyond the chain order of descent? Hein belakus, inyan akeset, v'hein lacher ze ba'olumas ba'olmatoyuk vish mesapach parelechem. What's the connection between these four things in Seder Ishtalshlus higher, the godliness that's higher in the world, the level that's higher in Seder Shtalshlus, the level of Keser, and the way it comes down to the worlds with the world of Toyu, that becomes transformed, that we now are able to incorporate and take in these sparks. And that now it'll be something that's applicable to us. Velakachtem lachem davke. That says it shall take for you, that now this becomes internalized to us through what? How does all these high levels become internalized, the Olamatayu and the Keser? How? Through these four things. What is it about these four things that bring about this internalization of this level of Rishon that's higher than Seder Ishtalshlus? Also concerning this world, the Olam Hatikum itself. Beis HaMikdash hu hamufresh ba'olam, it's the choices in the world, umimenu, and from that choices placed in the world, me'evan sh'siyah kodesh, in the shtia stone, the foundation stone, that was in the Holy of Holies. Hushtas kol olam kuloi, the whole entire world was created from it. So therefore, it has to do with this world. It's the first of this world. Then on in page Tes, v'gam b'negeya, Neshamas. Also concerning Neshamas, Mashiach and Nishmas, Mashiach Mufra Neshamas, that the Neshama of Mashiach is the most choicest of the Neshamas. Okay, Mavur become Makaimis, like it's explained in many places. Shakol Neshamas Shoyu Beseder Ishtalshus, all the Neshamas that were in the chain order of descent. Koilol Gam Neshamas Datzilus, including also the Neshamas of Atzilus, Heim B'chinas Nefesh, they are all from the level of Nefesh. L'mayla Yoiser, Ruach, they are the level of Ruach, or the Mila Yois, and even higher than that, Neshama, V'ad L'chaya. Masha'en Kem Mashiach, even though all these Neshamas are these different levels, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, that's all the Neshamas in general. When it comes, Mashiach, Mashiach has to do with the Yechida part of Neshama. Yechida HaKlolish shall call on Neshama, shall call Seder Ishtalshlus. He is the general Yechida of all the Neshamas of the entire Seder Ishtalshlus. Neshama, that's of the Neshama. That's what it says in the first day. You will take for yourself a beautiful fruit, etc. All the elevated things are connected with Rishon. Mashiach, the highest Neshama, Keser, Toyu, etc. All these things, Beis HaMikdash, Nishachim, Aidei, Shabnei Yisrael, Mekaimim, Mitzvahs, Metilos, Arba Minim. This is all fulfilled through Yidden fulfilling the mitzvah of taking the four minim. Sha'afal Bishim, Mitzvah Achas, though it's only one mitzvah, Harei Tzricha Lias Murkeves Davkim Arba Minim. It has to be specifically a combination of four different species, even though it's one mitzvah. V'dafka arba'am haminim, specifically the 4 kinds, not any 4 combinations, but specifically the 4 types shenimnu b'kasuv that are enumerated in the pasuk. When you have these 4 kinds together, that's when you fulfill the mitzvah, and through that you are drawing down the rishon of the Yichidah Klolis of Mashiach, and the rishon of Keser, and the rishon of Toyu, and the rishon of the Beis Hamikdash, the most muvkar in the world. So we need to understand, what is it about these 4 kinds that has that capability to draw that down.